Hey everybody, welcome to the HopCast.
Hey, thanks for coming downtown with us, everybody.
I'm Brad Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder, and we are joined here,
Yes.
Mr. Dan Jones.
That is correct.
And we're at Xoco.
Yes, you are.
This is, when you think of Chicago and you think of, the culinary status and all that, Rick Bayless immediately pops into mind.
Agreed.
And this is one of 3 restaurants that he has, and they're all lined up right next to each other. How would you compare Xoco to the others, Frontera and Topolobampo?
Well, Xoco's more of a fast serve style. He was really trying to capture the markets and the stands on the streets of Mexico City. Thus the churros and the hot chocolate that we do here, but also the kind of energy and feel standing. A lot of people love the lines. A lot of people have mixed opinions about the lines, but it really does feel like you're standing on the street in Mexico.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mexican street food.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right?
Exactly.
It's active in here. There's a lot of people in here.
Yes.
It's about 6 o'clock now, so everyone's coming in for dinner.
If you're lucky here on Tuesday, on a Saturday it would be pretty crazy.
But we have you do a lot of tortas, Mexican sandwiches.
Yes.
The soups here are out of this world.
They are wonderful. They're called caldos. It actually means hot. And we have a variety of different kinds. It's been perfect for the past few months with the weather and just great all year round.
And the great thing of what I love about coming to Xoco is that normally if you're going out to a Mexican restaurant, it's kind of hard to get anything other than your typical cervezas, your Mexican lagers.
Agreed.
And you do offer a couple of those, but we also have a nice wide variety of local Midwestern beers.
Most definitely.
Which ties in with the cuisine as well.
Yes. Well, we really pride ourselves in trying to find things as locally as possible, from the food to the stuff, our to-go supplies. I mean, everything should be local. The way that we light the place, the way that we built the place, and then the beer is just another extension of the food. While Mexican beers are great with this food, we feel in this culinary tradition of the Midwest, there's so many great breweries, why not highlight them in the restaurant?
Right, so we have some stuff from New Holland, Terranita, Goose Island, Two Brothers.
Some Jolly Pumpkin over here.
Oh, yes. I'm from Michigan, worked in a brewery for a long time, so I wanted to represent some Michigan items. But a lot of it has to do with the food, with the spiciness of the food, with the different flavors that a lot of people may not have had from Mexico. I think these really highlight some great pairings.
And speaking of which, I'm starting to salivate over here. We've got a number of things laid out in front of us. Take us through a few of these dishes and maybe some of the beers that you would that you normally like to throw them out with.
Certainly. Well, we have the kind of in-house dish that if you haven't tried, you should. The ahogado over here, which is a pork carnitas sandwich on a boillo, which is a baguette, handmade baguette from Labriola Bakery. It's got a little bit of tomato broth in there with some arbol chili that you can spice however you like. Rick always likes me to say this is not a soup and sandwich. It is more like a dip, and it goes really well with a lot of different things. The sauce is very limey, so I like it with something that's somewhat cooling. I love it with a wheat beer, with the island wheat, but it also has a savory quality with the pork that you could do with an amber or even the very lightness, the floweriness of the Jolly Pumpkin can soothe those hot flavors and really kind of bring out some different flavors you don't get.
Ken, you've had that before, right?
I have. Last time I was here, I had this sandwich. It was unbelievable. But I am going to go ahead and do it again and sample it with some of these tasty beverages that we have here.
And so, moving on,
Yes.
while Ken enjoys his
Of course,
sandwich
yes,
there.
of course. One of my favorite dishes here, we've talked about a sandwich, but some of the soups as well. Pork belly vermicelli, pork belly cut, seared in a wood-fired oven. So you get crispiness, you get that nice fattiness with a really nice kind of crispy exterior as well. Avocado, a little morita, which is a smoked chili that we grind into a paste and add to the stock. A little arugula, and as always, the quintessential lime to just brighten it up and give it that lovely feel. And my favorite beer with this is the Two Brothers Cane and Abel, with a little bit of the cane sugar in there. Really helps balance out with a little sweetness, and then you get the rye, which just kind of matches really well with the smoked morita.
And that's got to be, with that, it's kind of a darker beer, really hopped up rye beer. It's got to go great with a nice crispy pork belly too.
It's beautiful. It's got enough astringency to kind of cool the mouth out and wash off the palate.
It looks pretty spicy there too.
It can be. It's got beautiful, lovely flavors, and while we respect heat here, we also like to keep it balanced.
Yeah, and you're right on point with that. And with the carnita sandwich here, It really has a nice kick, but it's not overwhelming. And certainly, if you want to cool down with it, I really like the wheat.
The wheat?
To kind of clean you out.
Beautiful.
A nice kind of lemony flavor that goes with that lime, too.
Exactly. A couple other sandwiches we have. In the beef department, we have short ribs. That's called the Pepito sandwich. It's on there with a little bit of black beans, pickled jalapenos, and that comes with our tomatillo avocado salsa. In this dish, you get a great kind of juxtaposition between the richness of the beef and the lightness and vibrant acidity of the salsa. So this is something I would love with a Mexican beer, but also something for myself I really like with the Lolita. You get these really bright kind of raspberry qualities to it, and this particular pairing for me is not necessarily a compliment, but almost a juxtaposition to where the acidity is already in the dish, but the sourness of this dish really helps with kind of the richness of the sandwich.
Yeah, the Lolita is a Belgian sour with some raspberries, so that I could see that going well. And also, one of the things you guys pride yourselves on is the chocolate here.
Yes.
Basically making your own chocolate in-house is one of the only places that does that.
Yes,
I could see the chocolate in the Lolita going very well too.
Most definitely, the fruit and chocolate pairing. We also have, I also keep on hand several dark beers which go really well. The Night Stalker from Goose Island. I have a porter from a London porter, which is great from Arcadia.
Yep.
Can go really well with those as well.
Probably I saw that you had that half-acre over ale. That'd be nice with some of these savory meat dishes.
Most definitely. Yeah, that's why I have an amber and a brown on as well. It just really works well with these kind of roasted chile dishes.
And this soup here was pretty interesting. Very traditional dish.
Yes, this is the pozole caldo, and this is pozole is in, I guess, American terms, hominy. A lot of people recognize it as like grits, but this is the whole kernel form, and that's roasted with some pork in a pork and chicken stock, and that's added cabbage. You get chicken breast, which is smoked, and you can order that hot medium or mild as well. Just a little bit of red chili sprinkled on top can intensify the heat greatly. And I love this with a India Pale Ale. The savoriness of the dish with the
Tyranina here?
Yeah, the Tyranina. It's the Bitter Woman IPA. It's got a very orange, pithy quality to it. The bitterness is intense, but it also has a really nice kind of creaminess to it that I think lends to the style of the soup.
So if you were to get these soups on the streets in Mexico, would you be adding the stuff yourself, like a pho kind of thing?
A lot of it, some stands are different. Some stands, you have the people make it for you. Other stands have things sitting out. So if you want to customize what they've already done, you can add those extra things. I mean, the great thing about Mexico is that you can get everything just right there on the street. And you can modify it, you can have it traditional, you can just have it the way that you like it, and that's the lovely thing. And what we're really trying to do here is present those traditional flavors that you might not expect from different restaurants where they might just put a red sauce on something, and while it might be good, it's not to the level of these lovely flavors here.
Yeah, and what helps you out with that, I'm sure it has to be the fact that you guys do make everything here to order.
Yes, most
put
definitely.
together the soups. That's kind of atypical to see. Normally you have a huge vat of soup and you just
right?
like ladle it out. There you go.
Well, with the garnishes, every garnish from potatoes that we use, from the different gourds, the chayote, and everything that we use goes better a lot of the time when it's seasoned and roasted by itself. And then when you bring it all together, the intensity of that flavor is wonderful. Plus, everything has its own preparation. Pork belly's on a charger in our 700-degree oven, and we have the garnishes ready to go so that they don't wilt and always fresh. And the stock is brought out through the course of the evening to keep the soup tasting as good as possible and consistent.
And then, so what's the final sandwich we have over here?
So this is the milanesa. That term is used in a lot of different languages to describe the very thinly pounded meat. That's
you see that Italian cuisine a lot?
The Milanese, yes. You see it a lot of places. Even in American diners, you'll see something presented in that way. But the beautiful thing about this sandwich is that this is done more like a panini, where it's grilled on both sides in a press. Mm-hmm. Again, the pickled jalapenos for lovely acidity. We do a panko crusting so that it's very light, has a really nice crispiness compared to the bread.
Yeah, you can see that in there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's another one of my favorites to eat just midday. It's easy to grab and kind of walk around with. And then on this also has the cilantro crema, which is the crema that we make ourselves that we blend up with cilantro, and it adds really great richness and a lovely kind of herbalness to the sandwich that you wouldn't normally get without it.
So what are we drinking when we're having this one?
With this one,
in your hands.
With this one, I mean, it's one of those things where you can do a lot of things. Being chicken, but it's pastured, so it has that stronger flavor to it. So I really like it with some of the browns, although you get the vibrant chili with that, with the tomatillo salsa. I like it with lighter beers too. It would work well with the wheat. It would go great with Mexican beers. We also have some more German-style lagers over there that I think would work really well with that as well.
Some definitely representing Chicago with some Metropolitan over there.
We love them, most definitely. I've always had a love of German lagers. I worked in a brewery called Leopold Brothers in Ann Arbor for a long time, and I did everything from taste the grain, pour it in the mill, and shovel out the lauter ton and stuff, and I just love the purity of those flavors. I love tasting a young beer right after it's come out of the fermenter, and I think that there's a lot of Metropolitan does that really well, where you get those really lovely ingredients that you taste. The purity of it's wonderful, and
yeah, big shout out to Metropolitan for being here in Chicago, and now we actually get some fresh German-style beers that you normally really, no one's really specializing in those, at least around here. So it's they've been a wonderful addition to the scene.
Most definitely. I mean, you get a 1,000 pale ales, but man, you have a good pilsner, and it's like out of this world.
We know that.
The pilsners.
Exactly.
Speak to my heart.
Yes. Me too.
So with the Jolly Pumpkin over there, you were kind of saying you're trying to get a little more rare beers.
Yeah, I try to find what's out there and see what's available. I mean, with these beers that have the smaller production, I love that they're small producers. I love that you can't get them everywhere. I love that they take the time to. I mean, they do a lot of open top fermenting, and I love that they take the time to develop those flavors. And this might not be the beer for everybody, and it's a little bit more expensive too. But it's for those people that come in and just want to have something they've never had before, just something kind of in left field. And this beer is beautiful, very light, beautiful essence of flowers, a little bit of bitterness from Jamaica, and I just think it's gorgeous.
Yeah, very light and drinkable on the palate, but it's got that nice acidity to it, as you would expect from a Jolly Pumpkin beer. But it's not overwhelmingly so. It's softened by like the rose hips and the hibiscus and all that stuff.
You said it was pretty comparable to the floor.
It has some similar qualities to the Goose Island floor, most definitely.
I finished off mine here.
There's so much in front of me. I'm like, it's great.
Well, we love it what you're doing here.
We love it too.
It's refreshing to see. I mean, everybody knows that you can come to one of Rick Bayless's restaurants and get delicious food, but the fact that you guys decided to kind of focus that some intention on the beer list is outstanding.
We live in a great beer area, and it's great to have guys like you come out and appreciate it. And we want people to know. We went from a list of about 7 beers to 15 in a few weeks, and we want people to come out and appreciate it because it's a beautiful
many of those beers translate to the other restaurants too, right?
Yes, actually, some of these beers are offered in Frontera and Tupelo as well. So we're really pushing to expand the beer program across the restaurants. Also, with the release of Marisol in bottles coming up here very soon, that's going to be a really great addition. We have it on tap in Frontera, but now I'll be able to have it over here.
That's great.
And it was designed for this food.
Yeah, and if you're not familiar, we have done an episode before featuring the Marisol with Rick himself. He went over to the Goose Island Brew Pub and actually collaborated with Jared Rubin on that beer, and with these same dishes in mind. So kind of nice that you can have that as an offering right here in the restaurant.
Most definitely. I remember watching that episode in Rick's garden with Jennifer from Frontera and him, and I enjoyed every moment.
The mariachi band's going.
Yeah, I know. It was fun.
My backyard looks just like that.
Yeah,
so
mine too. Beautiful garden, bands playing all the time.
Fresh mole going on an open fire,
Every day.
It's just another day.
Right. Beautiful.
Well, Dan, cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us over here.
Oh, anytime. I'd love to have you back.
You guys got to jet down over here to Xoco because there's a lot of interesting things happening.
Yeah, most definitely. Come see us, have some beers with us. We always have a good time. It's a big party, and go with the flow.
Well, let's eat.
Yeah.
Let's drink some more. Thanks for watching HopCast.